Great to have you with us. Now, there is pressure mounting on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission from various power producers and transmitters to approve an increase in tariffs for the year 2019 and beyond. Power transmitter Gridco is asking for about a 95% increase in tariffs that will see the fee currently pegged at 2.5107 pesos or 2 cedis 51 pesos per kilowatt hour increased to 4 cedis 89 pesos per kilowatt hour. Now, public utility providers in the northern region had also made similar proposals to the PURC when it held public engagement with relevant agencies last week. Now, presenting Gridco's justification for the increase at a similar engagement in Accra, Manager for Marketing Operations Kofi Oredunto said this will ensure that tariffs reflect a cost of transmission. Let's go straight to the phone lines and speak with Joseph Akable, who is currently at this engagement session. Joseph, tell us, what are the arguments that these agencies have been making for the increment in tariffs?
So Daniel, first, the bit about the proposal coming from Gridco. Gridco, we know, is a power transmitter, and they are asking for a 95% increase in tariffs like you put out there. And their justification is that they need the amount, those increments, to ensure that they're able to run their equipment. The second being that they need to finance loans to build more stations and more plants required to perform their tasks. They also make the point that the current tariff that is being charged is not reflective of cost. And finally, they need to improve service. Now, on that score about the need to improve services, they explain that it is important to note that there is an increasing demand in terms of the power needs of the country. So what it means is that Gridco has consistently been improving upon its ability to transmit power, and they cannot just wait to ensure that demand exceeds supply before we have a power shortfall and the various power challenges that we have. So over a certain 10-year period, they have constantly been expanding their facilities. So it's at this point that they find it very necessary to ensure that they have the necessary tariffs that commensurate the kind of services that they are delivering to ensure that they're able to keep up with that. There are some other presentations that have taken place since the Gridco presentation took place. We've had that of Nabco, and you made reference to Nabco making a presentation in Tamale. Now they have reiterated it here again. They are asking for about a 40% increase in tariff, while Enclave Power, the private power transmitter, is also asking for some 26 pesos. While PDC, you recall that with the concession agreement that is taking place now, the ECG will no longer be undertaking its distribution services. That service will be taken over by the Power Distributor Service, PDS, and they are asking for some 23 pesos. And that presentation was done by the Electricity Company of Ghana. So they are hoping that the various power distributors and transmitters are hoping that the PURC, once it completes the process and has its board meetings and approvals, will give the green light to these figures that they are proposing to ensure that they are able to run.
So, Joe, let me get this straight. This new body that will be distributing power across the nation, they are the ones who are asking for a 23% increment in electricity tariffs.
They are actually asking for a figure of 23 pesos, not a percentage increment.
23 pesos?
Yes, because, you know, previously they are not taking up the exact functions that is being played by the Electricity Company of Ghana. The only part they are taking has to do with the distribution. So the ECG will still be generating the power, will be selling the power to the this company, and this company will now be distributing it. So they are taking the 23 pesos as the distribution charge, and this is actually lower than what the other private power distributor is requesting for, which is about 26 pesos. But their presentation was done by a representative from the Electricity Company of Ghana, who said because it was the first time they were having this engagement at the time that the PBS had come in, they were presenting it on their behalf. Daniel.
Right, thanks, Joseph. And of course, as listeners would would know that this concessionaire agreement is about to go through in a few weeks. And so it will be interesting to watch this space because the issue of new tariffs has really come up in this argument as the generators and the distributors go about their business. We're going to move from this issue. And 22-year-old houseboy of a woman stabbed to death at her Tema residence has been arrested by police for further interrogation. He told police he saw a strange man escaping from the compound sometime around 1 a.m. on Sunday. Now, in an interview with Joy News, Public Relations Officer of the Tema Region Police, DSP Joseph Beneficiaries, stated Investigators identified some assault marks on the body of the deceased. The victim, Marketing and Public Affairs Manager at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, was allegedly stabbed to death after she returned home from a senior staff party in the early hours of Sunday. Maxwell Agbagba joins me on the line. He's been following this issue. Maxwell, you were at the residence of the deceased, that is a gated community in Tema. What did you find?
Well, when you get to the Emerald Hills View Palace, which is a gated community, as you rightly mentioned, a tall wall around all the buildings there, and on top of the wall also we have, some barbed wires and electric, fence, which would make it very difficult for anyone at all to actually scale the wall and get access compound of this gated community. Now, at the entrance also, there are a lot of security, personnel there. And if you want to get access inside, you need a special code to get inside. If you are visiting somebody there at the MS estate, you would need to call your host so that your host, would also come and then pick you to the residence. So it's quite difficult for anyone at all to just, walk in into the MS estate, MS Hillview Palace. Even today, after the incident actually happened, some hours after the incident happened, they've tightened, the security there. We actually witnessed a confrontation between one of the security officers and the police officer who had been assigned to the estate. The estate managers wanted him to show enough proof that he has been assigned there before they would allow him. And these are all measures they put in place after the gruesome, murder of the ports manager just Sunday, Daniel.
Now, Maxwell, of course, we know these measures as you observe them now, but how stringently were they applying the measures before the unfortunate death of the marketing manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority?
Well, the authorities there would not speak to us. They would not give us any details. We saw the estate manager and then a man who described himself as the CEO of the MS Hillview Palace, but he wouldn't speak to the issue. In fact, they didn't allow us to take footage of the estate. They told us that they will be releasing a statement later in the day, and that should capture all that they have to say about this particular issue.
Now, we want to move from there, the residence of this woman, because you were also at the head office of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, where the victim was an employee. What was the move there?
Well, a lot of the workers were really, you could see from their faces and from their posture, a lot of them are grieving. I saw some of them in mourning clothes. There also, they wouldn't speak to us. They referred us to the Criminal Investigations Department. They said since the CID is handling the issue, they would not be, they're unable to, to speak to it. We told them that we really are not interested in the circumstances leading to the death. We just wanted to hear from them what kind of personality Madam Christiana Asante, was. But they were not interested in that. They said we should still go back to the CID. So really, we did not get enough, from them. But the atmosphere was one of, mourning at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority head office.
Right, Maxwell, but it still remains that in spite of the stringent security measures that you saw at the residence of the late Madame Christiana Asante here, houseboy, if I can use that expression, claims that he saw someone leave the residence.
Exactly. And the houseboy, we are told, has actually been picked up by the police to help them with investigation, because as the incident, happened on Sunday evening, it was later in the morning that they discovered the body of they discovered the body actually lying inside with a key to the room actually outside. So we are told the houseboy was actually just going around the windows and then saw the body inside, and later saw the key to the doors outside. Right now, we are told that the place has been cordoned off, and then the 12-year-old son of the deceased has been taken to another location. We are told the husband of the deceased does not reside, in Ghana. So the entire property has been locked up. It has been cordoned off to ensure that investigations, continue.
Thanks, Maxwell Agbagba, for that. And may the soul of the late Madam Asante, rest in peace. Our condolences go to her family and her co-workers. Now, 2 persons who were allegedly shot dead by a joint military police team in Alavanyo in the Volta region are still lying at the roadside. The youth who have refused to send the corpses to the morgue are demanding the police come for the corpses since they were responsible for the death of the 2. According to community elders, they have reported the incident at the Kwando police station, but as the police explained, their safety is not assured in the area, so they can't go for the corpses. Joy News' Fred Kwame Asare is on the grounds and joins us. Fred, what led to the death of these 2?
Yeah, the narration given me by Chami Komladai of Kwando Jobeje. He explained that the police team was in the community at about 2 p.m. yesterday, and they made their way into the bush. The community elders immediately expressed displeasure at their visit, explaining that they failed to inform the police of their intended operation in the community or in the area. So after some few minutes, they noticed there were some bushfires, or there was a fire burning from where the police had gone to. Youth gathered themselves and quickly rushed to the area and realized that some farms were set ablaze. A rice and maize farm was set ablaze. And then also 2 of their youth were arrested for reasons not known to them. So upon hearing this, the youth in the area wrestled their 2 colleagues from the police. And then also the 2 who they wrestled were handcuffed. So they made away with their handcuffs. And later the police team led by ASP Asifri left the community, but then again came back to inform the police that their handcuffs were missing. 2 of their handcuffs were missing, and that anybody who will be found in possession of the handcuffs will not be spared. So they left, and then again they came back this time with a reinforced military team. So it is made up of military and the police who are manning the Alavanyo Unkunya area. This time around, they reported that their gun had gone missing during the scuffle with the youth. So they informed the police of this. They informed the community members, and then on their way leaving, there were some gunshots. Now, after mounting their vehicles and they were about leaving, according to the chairman, he said some gunshots were directed at the crowd of residents who gathered at the roadside watching the incident or watching them leave. This led to the death of 2 of the residents in Alavanyo, Jopete. That is one Atakufi, and then also Confidence, who I am told is from Amfrega. So he only came to visit a colleague here. 7 persons were also reported to have sustained gunshots and then gunshot wounds, and then were rushed to the hospital in Kwando. One of them, who suffered a serious injury at the private part, later died today. He's also called Victor Yevu.
Okay.
Like you rightly said, the 2 persons who have been allegedly shot by the military and police team are still here at the roadside. The incident occurred right opposite the chief's palace, so they are still lying down here. But then the youth have mounted a canopy and then used some reeds or grasses to cover the corpses. So they are still lying here. Elders told me they visited the police station to inform them to come for the bodies. Since they were responsible, it is their mandated duty to come for such bodies. So they should come and then pick the corpses here and deposit them at the morgue before they continue with their investigation. But the police also explained that there is tension in the area and they are not sure they can come here and nobody will harm them, come and pick the bodies and go and deposit them at the morgue. So instead of them coming, the community members should rather convey the body to the morgue as they also continue with their investigation. So there is tension in the community, so they can't come for the bodies. But Jami also told me that the paramount chief, that is in the person of Togbe Atukura, was here earlier in the morning to speak to the youth and then calm them down and tell them that should the police come for the corpses, they shouldn't touch them. Nobody should attack the police, so that they can go, they can carry the body, deposit it at the morgue, and then continue with their investigation to ensure that whoever is responsible for the death of their 2 colleagues will be brought to book. So as we speak, the community is calm. Residents are here. Most of them are dressed in red, gathered in pockets at the roadside, beside or around where the corpses are lying.
Thanks, Fred Kwame Asare, for that report on the issues at Alavanyo Jogbeje. Still watching Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. Want to stay with us because coming up in the bulletin, Ghana Education Service to deal ruthlessly with schools that flout its new directive on discontinuing the charging of PTA dues across board. Also in business, Minority in Parliament disputes new oil discovery in Ghana by Aker Energy. There's more of that coming up when we come back. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, an American family has built a mechanized borehole for residents of the Volta region village of Mafi, Akokopo, following a Joy News story highlighting how lack of water forced people there to drink from a dirty stream. Many of the residents contracted various waterborne diseases. But 4 months after Joy News highlighted the plight of the community, a U.S. family has intervened and dug a borehole for them. Joseph Opoku Gakpo has more.
This is how the water looks like. Unclean, brownish, muddy, as thick as porridge. Sticks and tree branches lie in them with bubbles brewing all over it. But guess what? They drink it like that, without any form of treatment.
It
was basically saying that they use it to cook, they drink it, do everything with only this water.
Excerpts there of the story Joy News told from Mafi Akokokpo in September last year. A lot of interventions followed. The district assembly distributed sachet water to the community, and an association donated a water storage tank to them. Now more water is flowing. Jessica Jar from Boston in the USA saw the video after it went viral on social media and was moved.
I was really passionate about helping the spread of infectious disease in Ghana in particular because I was connected through Gloria and Amazing Grace. And when I heard about the situation here through the news, I thought this was the first and easiest way to help.
She and her family members contributed money to construct a mechanized borehole for the community, working through the Amazing Grace Foundation.
When I actually saw that video, I felt that it wasn't even worth for me to have clean water when my family in Ghana didn't have clean water. So I was very disturbed by it, and I thought this was an initiative that needed like immediate intervention. And I was talking to Jessica over the weeks, and I sent her that video, and right away she said, I want to adapt this project and I want to build a borehole project.
Felicia, who was featured in the earlier story, says residents are happy they will no longer suffer from diseases through the consumption of contaminated water.
The
difference is that you're not going to sick again, but you're not going to walk far from here before fetching water to drink. It will help us because we are not going to be late before going to school.
As you can see, everybody is happy, so we pledge and we promise that we will maintain this borehole and keep it very well.
MP for the area, Alexander Hotojem, says the community needs more such interventions.
This particular water problem is not peculiar to only Akokokpo. So Akokokpo as one of them is normal. I mean, in our area is normal. So I am grateful and I am happy. Our people have gotten very good water. They are no longer going to take that murky substance.
After many years without water, now Mafi Akokokpo has clean water flowing, much to the delight of residents.
If you wake up today and the people of Mafi Akokokpo are enjoying potable water, then it tells you the role of the multimedia and the media as a whole in development cannot be overemphasized.
Multimedia, where is Gakpo? The man with the multiple name. Thank you so much. You have been so great in our lives.
Thank you. For Joy News, Joseph Opoku Gakpo reporting.
Feels good to have some good news for a change. Now, 2,105 Nabco beneficiaries will be exited from the program very soon. These beneficiaries have been found to be on several government employment programs and are drawing double allowances from the state's coffers. Minister for Information Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, speaking at a press briefing in Koforidua, hinted that government uncovered this during an audit. It has come to light that about 12,000 people who registered with Nabco also provided wrong USN numbers. Now, 1,000 others also gave wrong e-switch numbers. 322 were found to be on the YEA payroll, with names of several others also being found on payrolls of the National Service Scheme and the Ministry of Health, a situation the Secretariat identified as a cause of the hold-up of payments. Maxwell Kudeko has the rest of the details. Good afternoon, Maxwell. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon, Maxwell. Right, Maxwell Kudeko is our correspondent in the Eastern region. He is joining us on the line to give us more details of this particular story. Good afternoon, Maxwell.
Hello.
Right, Maxwell, so if you can hear me, what more do we know about the removal of these 2,105 Nabco beneficiaries from the program?
Well, according to the Minister of Information, Mr. Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah,
right,
these beneficiaries are found on several government employment programs, namely the YEA. Some, he says, are also national service personnel, and then also others are on other government programs that aims at creating employment for the teeming youth of this country. He says that it is not proper for any individual to draw from the state allowances or salary from more than two sources. So there has been an audit, and then these over 2,000 beneficiaries are going to be exited. He said information available indicate that about 12,000 people who registered with the Nabco had some USN numbers that are incorrect. About 1,000 also had other information that needs much more to be desired. He says that originally, there are a lot of people, a lot of beneficiaries who are voluntarily exiting from the Nabco program because they have secured permanent job elsewhere. He said government will continue to ensure that he clears the system from every or any kind of rot in order to make or create opportunities for genuine people who are willing to work for the state or, as it were, gain employment and work to take care of themselves and their family. The minister also indicated that government has secured a 60 million funding for the second phase of the whole university, the University of Health and Allied Sciences.
Okay. Hello, Maxwell.
Hello.
Yes, I just wanted to know on the Nabco graduates, well, the Nabco recruits who are being removed. These are persons who, even though they are receiving one salary, they came for another job. Will there be any criminal charges leveled against them, did the minister say?
As a matter of fact, the minister did not indicate government's intention to prosecute such people. He says that the Nabco authorities they are done with the audit and they are going to take them off the government payroll, and that they will make sure that henceforth anybody who applies to the scheme is properly investigated, or as it were, proper background check will be done before they recruit said people. But for now, no criminal prosecution or intent to prosecute these guys have been made clear.
Did the minister then suggest that no proper background checks were done on these Nabco recruits before they were brought into the program?
Not categorically, but by inference, he indicated that most of them are on several government employment intervention programs. That suggests that officials of Nabco probably did not do a proper check before they recruited most of these guys.
Thanks, Maxwell Kudeko. He's our man in the Eastern region. Let's now hear the man himself, Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, Minister for Information, briefing journalists there about this new development.
About 7 had already enrolled on the Ministry of Health nursing training program. About 1,702 were found to have been already employed in other sectors. About 6 were flagged as already employed with duplicate e-switch numbers. About 85 required a change in their cards. 7 provided duplicate details. 394 had mismatches of their names between the Nabco system and the e-switch system, and another 50 or so had duplicate e-switch numbers, making up about 18,000, a little over 18,000 that had difficulties with their data. The difficulties encountered called for a halt in further processing of the payroll for the data sets to be corrected. Indeed, Nabco, through its secretariat, sent messages to beneficiaries to correct their data so that it will be rekeyed into the system.
Now, away from that issue, Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Osuefrie, says there is no law prohibiting mining in a country's forest reserves. He says sustainable mining is permitted once mineral rights holders obtain necessary permits from licensing and regulatory authorities. The Commission has since last year granted 65 mining firms entry permits for large-scale operations. 8 of them have leases to carry out exploration activities. Mr. Osuefrie spoke with Joy News' Ohiming Terrier.
The Minerals Act, Act 703 of 2006, in reference to mining activities in forest reserves, states, before undertaking an activity or operation under a mineral right, the holder of the mineral right shall obtain the necessary approvals and permits required from the Forestry Commission and the Environmental Protection Agency for the protection of natural resources, public health, and the environment. The wisdom behind restricting access to forests is to preserve the country's natural resources for posterity. Siting of the reserves itself largely took into account the volume of mineral deposits and water bodies. There is, however, widespread belief mining is restricted in forest reserves. Chief Executive Kojo Osuefrie reveals 65 mining firms have since last year been granted entry permits for large-scale operations. 8 of them have leases to carry out exploration activities in forest reserves. Newmont Golden Ridge, Tran Gold Mines, Golden Star, and Anglo-Gold Ashanti Eduaprim are among firms with permits. They operate in reserves in Ajinoabepo, Tanosrao, Apawasa, Supuma Bed, covering 180 kilometers square of land. Mr. Osuefrie says sustainable mining is permitted once mineral rights holders obtain necessary permits from the Forestry and the Minerals Commission.
Chirano and Newmont and others, I believe they all began the same way. And people, I have heard people say that you cannot mine in the forest. I want them to point the law to me that says that you cannot mine in the forest. Because Newmont concession is in the forest. Chirano is in the forest. Anglo Gold is in the forest. There are so many companies who are mining in the forest. So it is not illegal for anybody to mine in the forest.
The forest.
Now, the Ghana Education Service is warning the sacking of heads of senior high schools and technical and vocational institutions who meddle in PTA activities. This according to GES Public Relations Officer Cassandra Chum Ampofo. This comes as the GES suspends the collection of levies under the auspices of the parent-teacher associations in all public senior high schools and technical and vocational institutions. In an interview with Joy News, the GES Public Relations Officer Cassandra Chum Ampofo says the suspension is to streamline and review PTA levies. However, heads who go contrary to the directive will be punished.
Directive, we are suspending the bill. And so, if a head decides to go contrary, well, then of course the head, himself or herself, has decided to not to head the school again, because it's so simple that your director or the management of GES, people that you work under, are giving you this directive, has asked you not to do this, and if you want to do otherwise, then of course you are telling us that you just can't, perform your function well as head. So obviously, it's clear that you cannot work in as much as the PTA is also helping in providing infrastructure and increasing access and improving the quality of education in the schools, we should also be careful that it does not also affect our students that we have a good motive of helping. Some of the parents whose inability to pay or who are unable to pay the money have their awards being sacked. Others also have problems in paying, even providing pocket money even for their awards, let alone to be slapped in the face of paying thousands for this just because they need to pay PTA levies. We think that it is defeating the objective of government in removing costs as a barrier to secondary education in Ghana. And so we have not cancelled it. All that we are saying is that we have suspended their activities in the collection of levies, and we want to streamline, we want to sit down with the chairs, executives, sit down with the PTA, the leadership, sit down with all stakeholders that matter, and see how best we can, give them a guideline as to how they can operate in the schools that will not affect our young ones.
That's Cassandra Chum Ampo for you. Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Daryl's next with business, and he will tell you why the minority in parliament is disputing new oil discoveries in Ghana by Aka Energy. He joins us after the break.